you have to be able to recognize the pain that you're currently in. If you're not where you want to be, there are things that you are not happy with. If you're not happy with these things, then you have two choices. Sit on your hands and do nothing about it and continue to watch the life run out of your veins and out of your blood, and soon you'll be dead. Or have the courage to make the hard decisions, have the hard conversations, and get 100% completely honest about what sucks, what needs to change. Then and only then can you shift, can you move, can you change from the person that you are into the best version of yourself. What is up, guys? Andrew Sparks here, and welcome to episode number 2 of the Andrew Sparks podcast. Whether you're joining us on YouTube or Spotify or iTunes or any of the other streaming platforms, welcome back and welcome to episode number 2. This episode, we're going to dive deep into the topic of no pain, no gain. And if you're a business owner and you've been following along in the last episode, I guess, in the previous episode before that, just introducing this, welcome back. It's great to have you here. Now, if you haven't followed me before, don't know anything about me, let me just give you a few cliff notes on some of the stuff that I've done so you can recognize how this might be relevant for you in your business or in your life. Obviously, I'm the founder of AS Academy. If you're not aware yet, the work that I've done over the past decade has been in the personal leadership space, and it's been in that way in a few different flavors, going on my 11th year. First of all, starting in the corporate and high-performance sports, elite sports levels, then moving across about 8 years ago into working with entrepreneurs, helping them in the early stages of getting their businesses up and running. And really the work that I've done and the work that I do is helping CEOs find another level of personal performance that translates into a level of business and life success. And I've worked with over 600 CEOs around the world today, helped them make a lot of money, more than you'd probably believe, and also help them get the quality of life that they want as well. Because you can have all of the success. One of the guys that I first ever worked with, who's still a client today, probably 10 or 11 years ago now. The first year that we started doing work together, he made a couple of million in the first year before we started working together. After the first 12 months, he'd made £30 million. So he'd made 15x in a 12-month period. Now, obviously, he had the type of company to do that. That's not going to be available for everyone right now today. But, once we got to the end of that year and I said, cool, what's next? What do you want to do? And he sort of said, let's go make some more money. And so while we did that, it was also really important to make sure that we bring in a level of fulfillment and some other goals that were ultimately going to make him happy and keep him in the right spot so that his life was, quote unquote, sort of balanced out, right? Still achieving massively high levels of success, but on the other side, making sure that he was successful in his life and fitness and some other things that were important to him at that time. And so this is the space that I've been playing in for a long time. And last week I talked about my origin story, where I'd come from, some of the experiences, a lot of the experiences that have really led up to, where I am today, the person that I am today. And so if you haven't checked that out, go check that out, because I really feel like the first few episodes here, I really just want to set a foundation for those of you that maybe don't know, who the fuck this guy is. And that should give you a level of understanding of like, all right, this is someone worth listening to, because I know there's a lot of people out there giving advice. I appreciate and respect your time, and I want to make sure that I provide value for the right types of people, okay, instead of, just people listening for the sake of listening and wasting their life, essentially. My mission is to develop resilient owners with bulletproof businesses, and the tools and the tips and the strategies and everything that I will teach here. And, for those people that become members and clients and customers of the AS Academy and the work that we do over there, and, other businesses that I invest in potentially in the future as well, that really is the focus, to help build people to be the killers that often they already know that they are deep down, but they're just not able to pull it out. Sometimes you can get stuck on the fact that you have a certain way of being, right, in your business. So you show up and you get stuck in your business because the team and the leadership isn't there that you need to be bringing. The culture isn't the way that it should be to build a kick-ass business, but still give you that freedom. I think that's a really important aspect to look at. And then there's also the personal performance sides of things as well. How well are you showing up? How well are you being the best version of you? So we're going to explore all of that stuff as we go, because all of these things, they really flow back into, of course, your business, but all the different areas of your life as well. Okay, into your relationships, into your health and fitness, into all these sorts of things. And when we're not getting the results that we want, often excuses show up. Right? Unless we're truly honest with ourselves. And that's one of the biggest things when people, come on and join the mission that I'm on and become a member with us. The focus really is, well, let's tell the truth first, right? And that can be a very difficult process for a lot of people. We're going to talk so much more about a lot of this stuff over coming episodes, I'm sure, as well. But where I want to start today, is really, by the time we get to the end of this podcast, talking about this no pain, no gain. And I think that, as a society, we're not set up to succeed, not because we are not adaptable people and able to think. It's because initially when we grow up, we're put into a outdated school system that brings people up to be average at best. And unless you actually stop and take the time to dig in and find the real strategies of success that aren't taught and out there in mainstream, then that can become your life. And so the quote unquote sort of awakening that people have to go through to recognize, well, hang on a minute, they taught me this in school, or they didn't teach me this in school. Why didn't they teach me that in school? And I first sort of got introduced to this type of information from Robert Kiyosaki. Oh man, this is like 15 years ago nearly. And where he talks a lot about this, that, the school system doesn't work, and he explains it in a slightly different way, but the fundamental truths are there. And so if you get put into a system, if you get brought up thinking that average is best, if you don't go out and look for the tools and the tips and the strategies and what wealthy people are actually doing, not what the banks or the governments or the institutions are telling you because they want to keep you small. Okay, you fit a piece of the puzzle in a particular way, and if you sort of break out of that, if you're able to go and do your own research and look for things and search for things, then you can have a level of success that most people out there never achieve. And that's sort of been my path as well, probably for the last 15 years now. But I think also with the rise of social media, comparison these days and where people think that they quote unquote should be, it becomes this invisible benchmark. You see the influencers, the quote unquote gurus on Instagram and these other social media platforms that you might look at, and then you think, oh man, they've got the car, they've got the house, they've got the this, they've got the that. And, I've got a lot of mates that actually live that world properly. They are those people, and that's who they are, and they have the money, and they have the cars, and they have the things that, a lot of people think are rented and shit like that, and it's not true. It is true for some people, but there's a lot of people that that they actually earned that stuff, right? And so these are the people that you want to look up to, the true entrepreneurs that are telling the truth, not the ones bullshitting, renting cars and houses and stuff just for videos and for impact, to sell you something, basically. But when you do look at those people, often you can have a bit of an invisible benchmark, I guess is probably the best way to put it. And when you are able to shift that and recognize that, you don't have to compete with anyone else in what you do. Okay, the most successful person on the planet in your eyes, whoever that person would be in terms of money or the way they look or the way they act with their family or whatever, values and things that you attribute to that person, you can do it your own way. You can have it your own way. And I think, man, as cliche as this sounds, like the only person that you need to compete with is the better you, because you are the biggest problem. You are the one that's stopping you from getting the things that you want, not these external things. But when you go and look at these external people and things, you start to compare, right? And when you get into that trap, you're fucked, because then you're just chasing continually, often for things that you don't even want, okay? You're not fulfilled if you get these things. And so it's very important that you know what you want, why you want it, and things that are going to make you fulfilled in the process. And I think that there's such a, forget even what the company was, but there was this company in Australia recently that they had this financing option. It's called Afterpay or something like that. I don't know if that's the name of the company, but there is a company that basically allows you in pubs and restaurants and clubs when you go there to like purchase over the counter, and then what you would do with that purchase then is you could write it off as credit, and then you can pay for it over the next 3 months or something like that. You can make money that way, screwing up people's lives that are drunk and out and don't have the education around wealth and how you actually make money and what credit is good for and what it's bad for. You can make money doing those values misaligned businesses. Okay, values misaligned for me anyway. It's either, the CEO of that company either doesn't give a shit at all, or somehow in their head they're twisted enough to think that they're actually helping people by doing that, which, no one could really honestly say that's what they believe. Or you can actually build something that matters, something that is meaningful, something that is going to make the world better. Because for sure, governments and institutions and these big companies just trying to chase money so they can increase their share price, these companies are not looking out for you in most cases. Okay, they might be making your life easier in some way, shape or form, but in most cases, unless you're educated with the right education, not the shit that you get taught in school, but unless you're educated with the right information, then you'll end up a victim of these sorts of things. And so, the people that I've been working with for a long time, they care about their customers, they care about doing a good job, they have great values, and they're able to build companies that make massive profit and still have a good, meaningful business. You don't have to create a business that rips people off and makes people's lives worse to be profitable. So if that was ever a thought in your head, get that shit out of your head right now, because you can do meaningful work and you can help people and you can make millions and millions and millions of dollars in profit by doing it. Okay? So what I want to go through here is just a few challenges, I guess, that I think most business owners go through at some point. And, if this sort of thing aligns with you, it means that you're here right now. Otherwise, maybe you've been there in the past, or maybe you're going to get there in the future. But I think the first one really is that entrepreneurs, business owners, they can feel lost and alone because you either don't know what to do to get to the next level because real success isn't taught at school and in these other places. You got to go look for it. Or you do know what to do, but you're not doing it. Okay, so you're stuck, maybe some fear or some sort of barrier or limitation that's stopping you from taking the action. Okay. Also, it's very easy to feel lost and alone if you don't have a network that understands or pushes you to the next level to normalize the level of success that you want. All right. If everyone around you is an employee and you're making a couple of million, 5 million, 10 million bucks a year, then there's a big difference between the mindsets that you would have about that area. So the advice that they give, I've got some friends sometimes that give information on what I should do in business, and they're not in business at all. Their employees always have and always will be, and that's okay. All right. But I definitely don't go to those people for business advice on what I should do because they don't understand. Nor do I understand what it's like to be an employee, because in the 20-something years that I've been, since I left school, then I think maybe for a couple of years out of that, besides my apprenticeship initially, maybe 1 or 2 years out of that, I was actually an employee, and that was working at a pub somewhere. So when you're getting information, you want to get it from the right place. But if you don't have a strong network around you, people that recognize, what you're doing is really good, but you could be doing 10 times better, that's the type of environment that you want. And that's when people are like, yes, I found my crew, right? Recently, just started training at a new gym down the road. And I'm like, man, these guys are so values aligned to what I'm doing. You can't not buy from them when their message is so clear. Okay. And so you go there, you train, and you feel like I found my crew. And in business, often you don't have those people around you. Okay. This is a big problem because then it limits the success that you have because benchmarking yourself often against you're not sure what, right? The second one is, the freedom idea, right? That, you're going to start a business and you're going to get freedom from having a business. And, a lot of people will laugh at that and say, yeah, like I've been in business 10 years or 20 years or 50 years and you can't have freedom. Well, the truth is you can, okay? But the challenge is that often people, they work so hard, they either don't, once again, have the education or don't build the team or, don't get the systems in place to be able to scale themselves out of their business. That can be ego issues. They're going to touch everything. That can be like training or just lack of education issues. But if you've ever thought, man, like I'm tied to this business and I can't ever get out of it, it's simply you probably need some more education and you need the right strategy to be able to remove yourself from it. And then, often some personal work to be able to untangle some of the bullshit myths and beliefs that maybe you believe, right? But because, once again, the information on how to grow a business and have freedom in business and, build a multi-million-dollar company and not have to work 100-hour weeks and, not have to pick up after your team and all these sorts of things. But if your business is stuck that way, then, of course, you are going to think that, this freedom idea is a lie, and it's not, okay? You can have freedom. You can make the money. You can do what you want when you want. You can make exceptional money and probably even better money than you working in the business day after day. Often as business owners, we just get stuck in the business. And so it's important that you make sure you get out of those. The third one is, business owners, they start a business, it gets, things kind of start going okay, they're making a little bit of money, but they're deeply stressed, tired, unhappy, they're not showing up at home, they've put their heart and soul into winning in this business. But if it's not working, if you're frustrated and you're not happy and you don't know why, often the business owner, if the bills are getting paid, the partner's able to, put food in the fridge and do all the things that need to be done. And it's supporting a lifestyle, paying for a house and cars and boat and whatever else you've got in your life. Often you don't want to admit this is not good enough, right? But if you're unhappy and you're stressed and you're, overwhelmed and you're tired, often people just put up with it and just go, well, this must be the way that it is. Especially when if you believe that, you can't have freedom in business. Well, you can. You can have freedom in business. You just have to have the courage to make the hard decisions to either get the team or get the systems in the business that you need to have. Surround yourself with a group of people that are all kicking ass, all going in the same direction. These are the things that are going to take your business to a completely different level, okay? But the consequences of not changing these things is that business owners, they end up losing their health, their family, their friends. They lose themselves because they work 100-hour weeks day in, day out, or they found a way to solve the problems, but they hate the life that they built to go with it. So this really can create a lot of problems if you're a business owner, and all you wanted to do in the beginning, you either had a dream and you wanted to chase it, you wanted to make an impact, or you just kind of tripped over and fell into the industry or the niche that you're in, and you don't really know how you got there, but you kind of liked it and you're making something of it. But if you're not surrounded by the right people, if you're feeling lost and alone, if you don't believe that you can have freedom because you're so stuck in your business and your business is doing okay, it's paying the bills, but you're too scared to rock the boat to be able to get to the next level and have those hard conversations and cut the shitty team out of your business and raise the standards of your culture. If you can't do those things, then this will be your life. Okay, the pain, the frustration, the sadness, the anger, whatever, however it shows up for you as a human being. Okay, the disconnect from family and friends and never seeing them, getting fat, all the shit that goes down. But when you do get it right, everything can change for you. And it's a big promise, isn't it? And, people lie in marketing, don't they? But I'm telling you, after a decade of doing this, this is not a lie. This is true. This is what happens when you change these things, when you put yourself in a great network, when you start to unpick some of the beliefs, some of the bullshit that's in your head that's holding you back from taking those next steps and next actions to get better quality staff, to have those difficult conversations, do all these things that I've talked about, then and only then will your business and will your life change. But until you do those things, it won't. Okay? And so this, I think, is super important. These three things are super important. And, the topic of this podcast, of course, no pain, no gain, right? You have to be able to recognize the pain that you're currently in. If you're not where you want to be, there are things that you are not happy with. If you are not happy with these things, then you have two choices. Sit on your hands and do nothing about it and continue to watch the life run out of your veins and out of your blood, and soon you'll be dead. Or have the courage to make the hard decisions, have the hard conversations, and get 100% completely honest about what sucks, what needs to change. Then and only then can you shift, can you move, can you change from the person that you are into the best version of yourself. For a long time in business owners keep themselves stuck in this rut, and it's often not until someone, I've kind of made a career out of telling people the truth when they don't want to hear it because it's the right thing that they need to do. I don't care about somebody getting upset in the short term for them to be able to go, holy fuck, like, you're so right. I can't believe I haven't been looking at that. Can't believe I didn't have that difficult conversation 2 years ago. All right? When you have the courage to confront this and make the changes on the shit that you don't like, then everything will change. But if you don't, everything will stay the same that it is. And it really just comes back to what you want. Do you want dissatisfied, unhappy, depressed, I guess, in some circumstances? And man, that's a whole nother topic we probably should cover in another podcast. I think there's a very long continuum between, you kicked your toe and you're a bit upset, and somebody that, is actually really depressed and really struggling in their life at a proper fucking level. Right? Probably talk about that later on. But you have to be able to confront the pain of your current circumstance, because until you have the courage to do that, to look at all the shit that you don't like, you'll continue to feel those things, and this will be your life the way that it is. Now, if everything's great for you right now, that's awesome. Okay? But for most people, right, every business owner on the planet has problems. If you say you have no problems, you've maybe kind of been through all of this shit and done all of this work and really built something consciously and, based around your values that you fucking love. You still have problems, right? But maybe they're not such as great problems. It's either that or your ego is just quite inflated right now, and you probably should go and read Ego is the Enemy or another book like that to get you to recognize, actually, I've got this like complete smoke screen up across everything in my life, and I pretend everything's great and it's not. And I promise you, and I've firsthand experience here, by going through and having the hard conversations with people in your life, with the business, with team, with raising standards, looking at things critically, and putting yourself in those situations where you are prepared to get honest. Only when you do that will you get what's actually possible in your life at your greatest potential. I don't want to get to 80, 90, 100. Hope we live that long. Maybe longer, who knows? But I don't want to get to that age and then look back and go, I fucking wasted my life. I did something that wasn't meaningful. And I don't want that for you either, whether you ever became a client to come work with me and my team or not. Like, we get one shot. You might have other beliefs, but everyone's guaranteed right now is this time, right here, right now. And if you're not going all in, if you're not having those difficult conversations, if you're not saying not good enough in these areas, then you continue to put up with it. So that is it for the second podcast. No pain, no gain. If you're not prepared to look and do the hard work, then don't ever expect to get the outcome that's on the other side and get greatness and get proper fulfillment in the areas, in your relationships, with your kids, with your family, with your friends, in your business, right? Can you have it all? Yeah, I think you can. Can you have it all at once if you set all your goals and, you think you're going to get it all before the end of January? Nah, don't be foolish. You can't. But can you build, right, layer after layer after layer? the Will Smith book written by Mark Manson and Will Smith, they talk about, Will tells this story of him building a wall, right? And in his dad's shop, I think it was, and they had this, big wall, and I think they knocked it down. And then basically him and his brother had to come in every day until the wall was built with bricks. So they would come in and they would mix up the mud, the cement, the bricklayers use, and they would lay a brick. And then the focus was just to lay one brick perfectly every day. And that will give you progress. That will give you momentum. And if you have the time and the energy and the effort to just keep laying those bricks, one brick at a time, perfectly, day after day after day, your life will be completely different in, 6 months, 12 months. The work that you do today will show up in 90 days. You started going to the gym yesterday or on the 1st or the 2nd, or you waited till Monday, right? The work will show up in 90 days. You'll make progress throughout, right? But it's the same in business as well. The work that we're doing now in my company, it legitimately started like 90 days, probably about 70 or 80 days ago. And we've got a launch coming here next week? So very, very interesting. So actually, by the time you'll be watching this podcast or listening to this podcast, what I'm going to do is head over here to Instagram, and we'll put a little handle on the screen there. Go to the Andrew Sparks at Instagram, and there'll be a link in my bio if you're watching this in real time when this comes out. And we have a online workshop for business owners who want to solve some of these challenges in their business. And that is going to kick off on the 17th of January. And so if you are able to catch that, 4 days, killer content, help you unpick some of the things that you're doing wrong in your business, help you get that right mindset to be able to take it up to the next level. So if you head across to the bio on Instagram, go check that out. Follow me while you're over there, send me a message, let me know what you think about this, and make sure that you subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube or iTunes as well. And this has just been, a few little thoughts, and we're going to keep coming back doing this every single week, because the objective here, obviously, is to help build resilient business owners. And I think it has to start with a foundation of truth, right? You can't have all the shit that you want in your life just by starting on a foundation of rubble. You can't build a skyscraper on the Gold Coast or on, the beaches in Miami. You have to drill deep into the ground. You can't just, start laying bricks on the sand. It doesn't work that way. And so everything that you want in life is going to come from a solid foundation. That comes from you being solid. If you're not solid, everything else will suck, right? You'll be scammy, you'll be messy, you won't have good habits, all the shit that you hate in other people on the planet, okay? Thanks for watching. Thanks for paying attention. Share this around. If you have other business owners in any industry that, feel like they could get a lot from this, the work that we're going to cover here is going to be valuable. It will change lives for the people that come and show up and listen and do the work. Thank you for paying attention here, and we'll catch you next week.